jumping right in today, I'm going in with Linen from the Lorac Pro Matte palette, and just on a flat brush, I'm putting this all over my lid, both to set my eyeshadow base, and I'm taking it all the way up to my brow bone to highlight up there, since it is like a white cream kind of bone color. And then next I'm going in with the color Latte from the palette, which is a super duper light neutral brown, and just on this Real Techniques fluffy brush, I'm buffing this into the crease, just to be our first transition shade. In order to make like a really nice rounded transition for this look, I'm going to be using lots of neutral browns and layering them. So I'm starting with this lightest one from this palette, and I'm just using circular motions to really blend this into the crease and smoke it all the way up into my orbital bone. When I'm going for a rounded look like this, it's easiest to start in the center where my orbital bone kind of meets my nose. That way you can really see that rounded shape, and you can connect it down to the outer corner of your eye, and then just use circular motions that way. What this does is keeps all the makeup from getting up to like the arch of your brow and looking way too blended, if that's possible. Next, I'm taking Pink Mauve from the palette, which is a dusty rose color, and just on a more paddle shaped brush, I'm following the same shape basically and just putting it slightly lower than the light brown we used before. Like I said, we're just layering colors to get an ombre effect and to make this really, really blended. I'm going back in each step with the fluffy brush and using circular motions to blend this again so that it's blended into my skin essentially. And if it blends too high, you can always take the brush you use to blend out your concealer or your eyeshadow base and just pat around with whatever excess product is on that brush. I'm taking Linen again, and I'm sort of baking under the arch of my brow and kind of around where I just blended that eyeshadow. What this is doing is neutralizing anywhere that I blended up too high, and it's even further setting any eyeshadow base that didn't get set before. And I'm just blending it away with my same fluffy brush. This way it's really just going to blend right into your skin color. Brush away whatever excess there is too, because like I said, we were baking, and basically what that is packing on powder and then brushing it away. Next, I'm taking Chocolate from the palette, which is the darkest brown. On another paddle shaped brush, I'm just carving out the crease starting in the center of my orbital bone again. I'm keeping it lower than both the browns we used before, and I'm kind of taking it slowly just to make sure I'm really packing it into that crease, and that there's not as much left on the brush for when I take it into kind of the outer part of my crease. I like to have my eyes open for this, because this way I know that the product is only going into my crease, because it's kind of trapped in there. When your eyes open, it's kind of literally inside your crease. So that way you know you're getting the perfect shape and it's foolproof. And then I'm just taking the same fluffy brush and blending this out again. Make sure you're blending each and every step so that the transition is extremely smooth every single time. This is also going to pick up some of the excess of that dark brown and move it into the outer portion of the crease as well. And now I'm just putting product in the outer part of the crease, and I make sure that when I get to the outer corner, I'm packing it on there and kind of creating that outer V shape, just making sure there is some on that outer corner, not just in the crease, but kind of pulling it downwards as well. And then just blending it out on top where it meets the browns we used before. Same deal. And just using the fluffy brush that I've been using throughout. If you need to wipe excess product off of that fluffy brush in between steps, absolutely do so. I do think that I did that every single time just to make sure that I wasn't blending anything up where it didn't belong. And then I'm just bringing a little bit more brown back just to make sure we've got plenty of dimension going here, and making sure we didn't blend away all our dark color. It has to be dark enough so that it can blend out black, which we're going to go in with in a second. And now I'm taking Jet Black from the palette, and I'm just on a smaller brush than all the ones we've used before. You don't want it to be too incredibly dense. This one's by e.l.f. and it's small and it's not too dense, so it's perfect. And I'm just gonna start tracing out the exact same shape, and I'm just taking it nice and slow, opening my eye so that I know it's inside my crease, and I'm only placing product inside my crease to be blended later. And I'm just pulling this all the way across my entire crease. I'm keeping it lower than the color Chocolate, the color Latte, and the color Pink Mauve, just so that we have a gradient, and we're keeping our dark colors low. And then I'm just blending once again. You are gonna blend away a lot of the black, and that's okay because you can just bring in more. But I honestly probably spent 5 minutes seriously just blending this out to make sure that it blended in with the browns, because that's the thing with black. Like, you don't want there to be a harsh line where the black is cooler than the browns that you were using. You want it to fade into the warmth of the browns. So just blend and blend and blend. Use circular motions, move your brush back and forth. You can try using a heavy hand and a light hand and see which one works better for you. I always use a light hand because I feel it really distributes the product lightly like we want. And next, I'm just putting a little bit of NYX Jumbo Pencil in Milk onto a flat concealer brush. I'm just using this to carve out my crease so that we have like a nice white base for the colors that we're gonna go in with in a second. I'm following the shape of my orbital bone as I carve this out. It doesn't have to be a perfectly harsh line because we're gonna blend it into the brown. It's not exactly gonna be a cut crease. We're just doing this so that we can make sure that the pigment we're putting on is super duper duper pigmented. It doesn't really matter, you will be able to blend it later. Next, I'm taking MAC Neo Orange pigment, which is a neon orange pigment, and I'm just packing this all over the entire white. I'm going in with a really heavy amount of product on the brush. Since we laid down a cream product, it will go on really heavily and really pigmented, and so that's okay. It will stick. It'll stick, so you can go on with as much pigment as you feel comfortable with. And just make sure you carve out all the way up to where the white stops, just so that you don't have any white showing at all. And just make sure you pack on that pigment extremely heavily and get that whole white area covered. And next, I'm spraying the brush, and I'm just using that to pack on the corners of the orange, just because as you get into the crease, it can be difficult to get that color to stick, especially when it's kind of set with eyeshadow already on your cream base. So I'm just spraying down the brush and taking some of that Neo Orange pigment and making sure it's nice and pigmented on the crease. And next, I'm taking Sugar Pill's Love Plus, which is just a matte red eyeshadow, and I'm just using the same concealer brush, and I'm putting this all along the edge of the crease where my Neo Orange meets my neutrals. And I'm just putting this along the edge of the whole thing and then blending it inwards and also blending it upwards into the neutrals, and so it's kind of like our midway transition shade from the brights on our lid to the neutrals in our crease. It should be easy to blend because you have the orange, which is kind of a transition into that, and then again into the warmer browns and the black. And then I'm taking a little bit more of like a fluffy-ish brush when compared to like the concealer brush I was using a second ago. And I'm just blending this even more in the crease, still using Love Plus and just making sure it fades really nicely and there's not any harsh lines. And next, I'm taking Anastasia Beverly Hills Gold Rush eyeshadow, which is just a nice muted gold. And I'm just packing this on the center of the lid, and now you can really see the ombre start to come to life. Next, I'm taking Flame Point by Sugar Pill, which is a matte bright orange, and I'm using this as kind of a midway transition between Love Plus, which is the red I used, and Neo Orange, which is the first pigment I used, and I'm kind of putting this between both of them, and I'm also putting this into the crease to warm up where I put Love Plus, because sometimes red eyeshadows can come off kind of pink, and I want to make sure this is nice and warm, red, orange, and yellow only, and no pink. So I'm just putting a little bit of that orange in the crease and down lower between Neo Orange and Love Plus. Next, I'm taking this glitter from a brand called Tattoo Junkie that you can get at Walmart. This is kind of the star of the show because it's an orange glitter with these like really bright pieces of yellow glitter, and that's what makes this ombre super duper amazing. You'll be able to tell in the pictures later, but you can't really tell right now. But what it does is lays down an orange base which matches the Neo Orange and the Flame Point and all the other eyeshadows we were putting on, but then the yellow just pops out and makes it that ombre from red to orange to gold, and it just looks amazing. And then I'm packing a little bit of Gold Rush eyeshadow on top of it, which helps set the glitter glue and also creates, again, more of that ombre by having that yellow gold in the center. Next, I'm applying NYC liquid liner, and I'm just doing kind of a big wing, and I'm just making sure that when I open my eye, as you can see, it's kind of like a dip down where I do it thinner on my eyelid, and then the wing is kind of thicker, and this way when I open my eye, it's going to look straight across, and it's going to look like I don't have hooded lids, which is what I pretty much am always going for. So just make sure that line is nice and black. Slow and steady wins the race. Say you just want to go slow and steady with your eyeliner to get it right. And then I'm going back in with the black eyeshadow one more time, and I'm just carving out the crease again because blending on those reds and oranges kind of lost the coolness of our black. And I'm also taking it all the way over to the eyeliner just so that I know that the black of the eyeshadow matches the black of the eyeliner, because it sucks to have like a lighter black for your eyeshadow and a darker black for your liner, so you want them to match. So I'm just putting that all the way across and then blending it out one more time with my blendy brush. Next, I'm curling my lashes to prep for falsies, and I'm also applying a skinny mascara to get really close to the base of my lashes, and then another mascara upwards, just so that I know every lash is covered and they're nice and brittle, so falsies will have something to stick to. And I'm applying really big, fancy falsies from LA Splash Cosmetics. I'll tell you the style down below. And then I'm applying my under eye concealer. And with this, I'm making sure to get all the way up to my lash line so there isn't any like purple dark circliness showing. And then I'm also carving out that wing so that it's nice and sharp and we have 100% focus on the wing. Then I'm going to take it down as well to sort of highlight my under eye and my cheekbone. And then I'll just be blending it out with this Real Techniques synthetic brush that's amazing for blending out concealer. And I always use tapping motions because it keeps the concealer there and you can't see any like brush swipe strokes things that makes it look fake. And then I'm going to set it with setting powder, and I'm just going to bake it a little bit and then brush all of that away after it has set. And then I'm just going to take all of my brights in order, and I'm just going to blend out the lower lash line pretty standard. So I'm going to start with Neo Orange, and I'm just going to place that all the way from inner to outer corner on my lower lash line, blending it back and forth with a small fluffy brush. And then I'll go in with Flame Point, and then I'll go in with Love Plus, and I'll make sure those three things are blended together seamlessly. Basically, with this, I use the same brush for the whole thing, but I just wipe it off in between steps just because this brush is such a great brush for the lower lash line. I didn't want to use anything else. So I'm brushing from inner to outer corner, just using really careful movements to make sure I don't blend it down too far or don't take it into any of the wrong places. Since these eyeshadows are so bright, you don't want them to end up anywhere that they aren't supposed to be. So just blend back and forth. And then I'm taking black as my last step, and I'm just using that to deepen it and sort of create that effect of having like some depth down there. So just take a little bit of black, blend it in with your oranges, and you are all set to go. And next I'm putting a white pencil on the waterline just to make my eyes look really big and doe-eyed. You can go for a black one, but I chose white for this one just because I felt it complemented the look. And then I'm applying bottom mascara. Just do enough to where all your lashes are coated. They don't have to be huge or spidery or anything. You just want them to be coated. And next I'm putting Gold Rush on the inner corner, and I'm also going to blend that out with Sugar Pill's Butter Cupcake, and just blending those two together and then making sure Gold Rush is actually on the high point of your inner corner, as in like the part that sticks up a little bit, is going to create a really nice yellow gradient with shine on that high point, and it's going to look bomb as you can see here, and your look is complete. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.